High 60s and rainy there at Highmark Stadium, much like the weather the Texans saw all week here in Houston. Welcome into week 4 as the Houston Texans prepare to take on a 2-1 Buffalo Bills team. Rookie quarterback Davis Mills gets his first road start at Buffalo. He threw for 168 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions in week 3 against Carolina, his first NFL start. Head coach David Culley returns to the place he coached quarterbacks in 2017 and 2018, including a rookie in quarterback Josh Allen. Today, the Texans defense gets a few key starters back in Justin Reed and Terrence Mitchell. They'll be looking to contain Allen coming off his 5th career game with at least 4 passing touchdowns and 300 passing yards. What do the Texans need to do to pull off a win today and get back in the win column? We've got answers for you. Texans Unlimited presented by Verizon starts now.
We are ready to rock in Houston.
Touchdown, Houston!
Are you kidding? What a catch. Oh, baby.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time to get activated.
Welcome into Texans Unlimited presented by Verizon. I'm your host, DP Sidhu, along with my good friend, Drew Doherty. We are back inside, unlike the Texans players outside in the rain practicing. Big, tall task of containing Josh Allen today. They'll have to do so in some rainy weather and with a few key defensive players back out on the field. Justin Reed and Terrence Mitchell, welcome faces back, but they lose a few more in Ross Blacklock and Zach Cunningham. They were placed on the reserve COVID list just yesterday. Drew, I know it's going to be a big challenge getting Davis Mills back, but he's had a game and a half under his belt.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at for the Texans today?
Well, it's going to be fascinating. This is an unflappable guy who's very, very confident and almost, I don't want to say to a fault because I think it's still too young to say that, but this guy does not lack in any confidence. He is excited for the challenge in a very calm way. He is up for the challenge in a very calm way, and he can't wait to get out there calmly and see what he can do, because we're going to see from or hear from him a little bit later in a one-on-one I had with him. But this guy is smart. We've always known that. He's a book smart guy because he went to Stanford, but he's a football smart guy. And David Culley said earlier this week there's going to be more on Davis Mills. Davis Mills said, well, I was ready to do it anyways. I mean, just very nonchalantly, very calmly, as I've said a few times now. I want to see what happens here, because this is a rugged Buffalo Bills front, a very talented Buffalo Bills secondary. He's going to get tested, and in between them, they've got great linebackers too. So, yeah, he's going to get challenged.
He's definitely going to get challenged, and we've got some quick hits for you. Davis Mills, 1.5 games under his belt. Big challenge in this Bills defense that ranks 4th in the NFL. They have allowed an average of 178 passing yards per game so far this season. Mills said the Texans' offense has to be on the attack today.
I mean, they have a lot of experienced dudes on their defense. A lot of their guys have been in the system for a while, and they do what they do at a high level. I think as an offense, just attacking that, we just got to go by our rules, and kind of they're one of the teams that wanted to force you into check down. So let's spread the ball around, get the ball to our playmakers in space, and let them win the one-on-ones.
Well, the Texans' run defense has been the Texans' run game has been a point of emphasis all week long. It's going to be even more crucial today. Mark Ingram said they've got to get the ground game going. They've got to control the clock and the time of possession. And if they can do that, it's going to help this defense as well.
Always want to have ball control. Always want to have control of the time of possession. Obviously, when you have a prolific offense that scores a lot of points, the number one asset to that is a run game and taking the ball, time of possession, controlling the ball, moving the sticks, keeping them on the sideline, keeping your defense rested, giving them limited opportunities to be able to score. And, so that's why it's so important to be able to move the chains, stay on course, have those drives and sustain drives where their offense is not on the field, that they're on the sideline. Our defense is resting and recovering. And when they get out there, they can, make the plays necessary to slow them down, stop them, and get turnovers and give us extra possession so we can keep them on the sideline. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you have a team and a quarterback of explosive players that put up a lot of points, you want to the number one defense for that is the offense that's sustaining the ball, moving the chains, and keeping them on the sideline. So I think that'll be a big point of emphasis for us. It always is a big point of emphasis for us, being able to stay ahead of the chains, being able to control the ball, being able to make first downs and sustain long drives and score touchdowns in the red zone, not field goals. Those are all things that kind of help you, when you have an explosive offense on the other side.
Well, Texans defensive coordinator Lovie Smith has been working on a game plan all week to contain Josh Allen, who is dangerous both through the air and on the ground. Lovie Smith discussed what the points of emphasis will be for his defense to execute the game plan today.
Just talking about them offensively, it's a big challenge for us offensively. Josh Allen is as good a quarterback as there is in our game, in the league, playing in the National Football League right now. 3 excellent receivers, 2 good running backs, outstanding offensive line. So tackling is critical. It's critical each week. And you have to keep those, explosive plays to a minimum. And that normally says something about how you tackle and whether you get them down, yards after contact. We didn't do as good a job as we need to last year in that area, but hopefully that'll be the case this week. But we're just pumped up about this game. And for me, on a personal note, too, I think there's about 6 other coaches on our staff that I've either worked with or known all my life, something like that. It's always fun when you get a chance to compete against guys that you kind of consider kind of like your brother a little bit.
Lovie Smith discussing the familiarity he has with some of the coaches on the Bills staff, along with David Culley. I know that around the NFL they're talking about Tom Brady going back to New England, but it's kind of reunion week everywhere, especially here with the Houston Texans. So that'll be fun to watch. Drew, I know there's some big news with Inactives that you need to get to.
Yeah, it's. I don't think there's any shockers this week, but there are some key guys that are not going to be playing for the Texans. Scotty Phillips, he's been dealing with an illness. Brevin Jordan, the rookie tight end, still has not been active, but as we heard earlier in the week, David Culley says his time is coming. It's just not going to come today up in Western New York. No Danny Amendola. Jimmy Moreland's not there. The defensive back did not make the trip, so you won't see him. Jordan Jenkins will not play, and of course Deshaun Watson is inactive as well. So those are the 6 that won't suit up. You might be asking about Zach Cunningham and some of the others. They're on that COVID-19 list, so they won't play. That's why they're not inactive or active. They're just on the COVID-19 list. So, DP, many questions from many folks today. We got our German Texan checking us out, Matthew in Great Britain, Tommy in Southwest Houston, Joe in the UK, Willie in South Africa. What's going on, Willie?
Wow.
And Miguel in Mexico. Just some of the many who are checking us out on the pre-game show.
Yeah, thank you for your questions.
Pre-game show.
Pre-game show. He's making it more emphatic there. I like it. Mac wants to know, is it raining in Buffalo? It was pouring a little while ago. I know it's hard to tell on the screen. You see fans in the stands with their ponchos on.
Yep.
So they are expecting rain probably throughout the first half of the game. I'm no weather forecaster. Drew does that really well, but it is raining. There was a chance of rain all week long, and the team practiced in rainy conditions here at Houston Methodist Training Center, which I think is good for them because especially with Davis Mills trying to get the ball out,
sure.
Rain definitely changes it, and that leads into our next question from Steve, who says, will wet weather affect the passing game?
Yeah, it should. I mean, it's tougher to throw the ball when it's slick, but these guys compensate for it. That's why they practice. That's why they go out on the field beforehand. They've been out. They're in their full uniform right now. Earlier, they were throwing in shorts and T-shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to affect it, but they're going to compensate for it and make up for it. And both teams have to play in it. It's not just rainy for the Texans or rainy for the Bills. So that's not an excuse, but it sure does affect things. And by the way, I think Davis Mills has really cool shoes on today. I like those cleats that he's wearing. We don't see it right now. We're looking at Brandon Cooks, number 13, his pass catcher there. But I like Davis Mills' boots today.
Yeah, you were admiring those in the Open as well. I'll have to get a good look at them. Speaking of which, we're going to have some pregame outfits coming up a little later on in the show, which I always enjoy. Nick wants to know, what channel is the game on? Nick, the game is on CBS, and you can also listen to it on Sports Radio 610, where Mark Vandermeer, Andre Ware, and John Harris will bring you coverage from the Texans sideline.
My dad, Jim Doherty, loves listening to the game. He listens to the Vandermeer call. He says, Matt Vandermeer does a good job. So he's
he kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Jim Doherty's going to check him out on the radio today.
All right, German Texan wants to know, do you think Charlie Heck will be seeing more snaps today? I don't know, German Texan. Marcus Cannon has been holding it down at right tackle, and he's been getting more and more play as the weeks have gone on. He didn't play much in preseason, and then he came back from injury, Marcus Cannon, there in week 1. And every week they've been sort of working him more and more, and they're really happy with where he's at right now. So I don't foresee Charlie Heck getting any starts or any reps at right tackle unless something happens in
Right,
game.
yeah. Unless there's an injury, I'd say no. He's not probably going to get more reps. It's a good question from German Texan. And Christian also wants to know, are there any changes on special teams today? No. I think you're going to see Andre Roberts back there returning kicks and punts. Their head coach, Sean McDermott, this week was asked about Andre Roberts because Roberts spent 2019 and 2020 in Buffalo, was a two-time Pro Bowler there. And McDermott said he thinks he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Now, that's a pretty substantial thing to say, and I don't think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But, he clearly thinks highly of the guy. And, hey, maybe an Andre Roberts revenge game. Can we see that today?
He made the Pro Bowl in 2019 and 2020 for the Bills. And, while we're talking about special teams, I think we definitely need to mention that Kaimi Fairbairn is making his 2021 debut. He was on the IR list, and then he was designated to return this week. He returned to practice, and they clearly liked what they saw from his kicking game because he is back on the active roster. They waived Joey Sly, who did a nice job filling in over the past 2 weeks. But I think in a weather game like this, the kicking game is going to be so crucial. You got a guy like Kaimi who's done this for 6 years now, so I think it's great to have Fairbairn back for this game.
That's a major change. So, I am off in that regard. But I'm still thinking like Kaimi Fairbairn is the kicker. Joey Sly kind of filled in for him. So, yes, there is a change this week, but I was operating for over the last 4 or 5 years. Think about it. Davis Mills led a couple of drives that ended in missed field goals this year by Sly. So perhaps that changes today because Kaimi's back. We shall see, but he's good enough to go. They said it would be a decision that they'd make later in the week about Fairbairn, and he's clearly set to go. There's not going to be any limitations on him. They're not going to hold him back and say, well, we can't kick from this distance because he's not ready. No, he's ready to go, full go, and we'll see what that means.
You see Brandon Cooks there dancing. He's got lots to dance about. He's leading the AFC with this receiving yards and receptions and doing a nice job with Davis Mills. I feel like we don't talk about Brandon Cooks enough. And, look at him. Look at it. I mean, this just makes me happy. I wish we could hear what he was dancing to, but he's having a tremendous season. And, we talked about everything that he's been able to do. And David Culley talked about just his experience with so many other quarterbacks in the league and how that has really helped him grow, both in his football IQ. We already know physically what assets he brings. He's quick, he's fast, he's got great hands. He goes up for those contested catches, and he usually comes down with them, even though he's not the biggest guy on the field. But just all of his experience, all the extra time he has put in with Mills before and after practice, and now Mills has had about 10 days to get first-team reps. He's had a lot more work with that guy, and hopefully we see him get another touchdown today.
He's the best player on this team. I'm not breaking any news there. He's the best player on the Texans. He's having a great year. He was great last year. He was one of the bright spots in a very dark season. So, Brandon Cooks is playing well. He's somebody that Mills has relied on, Tyrod Taylor relied on, and will rely on when Tyrod returns here in a few weeks. Brandon Cooks has been so much fun to watch, and he's fun to deal with, when you're talking with him. So gonna be cool to see what he can do against Buffalo. He's played against these Bills a time or two in his career. So let's see what the Archer can do.
And then you've got A.J. Moore there, number 33. Also some big news. He was activated, designated to return, and he's going to play his first game. Did so many great things on special teams. It'll be good to have him back in the secondary against a Bills team that has so many wide receivers. Lovie Smith said that he's seen them line up 4, sometimes even 5 guys wide, which is pretty uncommon, but they have so many weapons, this Bills passing attack. So, we talk about weather and how it's going to affect the game. I don't know. When you've got that many great receivers on the other side of the ball, like how does it slow them down? Because if one guy can't get open or get his hands on the ball, you've got so many other guys to go to.
Yeah, from the late 90s through till about 5 years ago, the Bills were kind of a wasteland. They struggled. They'd have a 9-7 season here or there, but they were a bad team, bad franchise for a while. And that's not the case anymore. Just an incredibly well-constructed team on both sides of the ball, and you've got a really good quarterback. This is going to be a tough test, and there's a reason why they're the prohibitive favorites today, double-digit favorites. They're really, really good. So it's a test on both sides of the ball, and like you said, you're going to need the A.J. Moores of the world to step up and make some changes. It's darn good that you got Justin Reed and Terrence Mitchell back. Everybody's making a big deal about Reed, justifiably so. He had 3 turnovers caused in the first 2 game and a half. But getting your best corner, Terrence Mitchell, that's huge as well because the Texans got diced up last week, and you hope that doesn't happen today. And you hope part of that is, in fact, because those two are back and helping you out.
Yeah, I was listening to the pregame show with John Harris this morning, and he said with Sean and Seth Payne, and he said the best runner on this field is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He said, I mean, I don't care who you put him up against. He is really, and he's also a very talented quarterback. So we talk about the passing game, the run game, along with a mobile quarterback like Josh Allen's going to be a big challenge for this defensive front. And you get Roy Lopez in there. I had a chance to interview him earlier in the week. He's done some nice things as a rookie. Got his first start at Carolina. Vincent Taylor goes down. He comes in. He's really good against the run. He's a really good run stopper. That's what he was known for in college. He can also pass rush too. But Roy Lopez, and I just want to shout him out. I don't know if we can see him on the field. I saw him walk out there because you see his hair hanging out of his helmet. Got a shout out from The Rock.
How about that?
Because The Rock is his favorite wrestler. I know you talked to him in training camp. I had a chance to catch up with him in studio. He's a fun guy to get to know.
Yeah, he is. He's a Rock guy. Justin Britt is a Stone Cold Steve Austin guy, so it's a natural
of course.
Rivalry. It's fun talking wrestling with these dudes because a lot of them, there's like 4 or 5 of them that did wrestling in high school, and that's different, obviously, I know, from the WWE wrestling, but some of them are WWE fans. So, yeah, you get The Rock shouting you out. I mean, who doesn't love The Rock? I mean, that guy's awesome. I guess there's a lot of people that don't, but
I'm not one of them.
If you don't like The Rock.
No, I am not one of them. Also, number 51, Kamu Grugier-Hill is back in the lineup as well. That's going to be huge for the linebackers, especially with Zach Cunningham going on the reserve COVID list. He was out in that week against Carolina. There were so many guys banged up in week 2 at Cleveland, and then it was the short week. But the extra rest, Kamu Grugier-Hill signed here in the offseason. He won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, and his leadership in that group, I think, is really something that we don't talk about enough either, because he's done some nice things in that linebacking group.
Yeah, he's been a special teamer and a really good special teamer for the bulk of his career, but he's gotten a lot of snaps on defense this season for the Texans. And he's forced some fumbles with an S, not a fumble, but forced multiple fumbles. Now, they haven't been recovered by the Texans, but he's getting his hand on the ball, and he's forcing problems. So if he keeps that up, you got to figure law of averages, it's going to come back to you, and you're going to get some of these balls back and get some of these takeaways. So he's helping fulfill or get to that 20 strip attempts per game total that Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator, has for the Texans. Yeah, it's good to have Grugier-Hill back, especially when, like you mentioned, Cunningham is not going to play today.
All right, and just to the left of Grugier-Hill, we see number 10 there warming up for the game, Davis Mills, in his first road start. Drew, you had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week.
Powered by Reliant, Drew Doherty here with quarterback Davis Mills. Davis, good to talk with you as always, and you had a little bit of time off, and you played a half in relief. You started a game with all of that experience now, 3 halves worth of experience as a starter. How much more confidence do you have going into this game against Buffalo?
I mean, I've always tried to pride myself in being a confident person, so, I mean, I don't know if there's any more going into this upcoming game. I think just the extra practice reps that I'll be able to get this week will allow me to go in just with a really good feel of what we're planning on running this week and how we're going to attack these guys.
That confidence has been noticeable throughout your time in Houston so far since you got here in May. Has it always been that way? Were you like that as a little kid? Did it grow over time? Where do you get this from?
I think so. I think it was one of those things growing up. I always had the mindset that, I mean, I was ready to go out there and play to my best. And, I mean, growing up, it always worked out really well. So
yeah,
just been a confident person ready to take on whatever is next.
Yeah, that's good stuff to hear. And, you know, David Culley earlier in the week and throughout the week has said there's going to be more on Davis Mills just simply because of time, simply because of experience. How much do you embrace that, hearing when he says there's going to be more on your plate, you're going to kind of get to open things up a little bit more offensively?
I mean, I'm excited for it. I don't know if we were really closed off from last week, but, I mean, whatever they're comfortable throwing at me, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, tell me about this front 7 of Buffalo's. How impressive is it?
From what I've seen on film so far, they're pretty good. A lot of speed. A lot of their guys have been in their system for a long time, so they're experienced with all their calls and adjustments. They disguise what they're going to do pretty well, so we got to get a good feel for that and be able to anticipate how we're going to beat them.
Yeah, and then at the back end, they've got a guy in Tre'Davious White who's an all-pro, and, you know, he's surrounded by some other really athletic, excellent players there in that secondary. What do you make of that group there at the back end?
Really talented dudes. I mean, like I said, I think we have some talented guys as well that we're going to be able to spread the ball around and, get them on the edge and force the defense to make plays.
One of the unique environments in the NFL is in Buffalo when you go there. Actually, it's Orchard, New York, so it's not really in Buffalo. But nevertheless, it's a road game. I know you like playing in front of the home crowd here at NRG Stadium, but you're also somebody that sort of embraces that road, us against the world mentality type of thought, aren't you?
I am. I'm excited to go up and see another stadium. Still pretty new to this, so just really going up there and taking in whatever the fans throw at us, whatever the stadium throws at us. I'm excited for it.
All right, we got to see how you're powering game day. So do you have any game day superstitions?
I do not.
Nothing.
Unfortunately. No.
That's probably a good thing, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And is there any particular song or set of songs that you kind of listen to on game day to get ready?
Really not since college. We'd play some stuff in high school. I can't really think of it, but I know we had a set playlist in high school that we listened to just in the locker room, but nothing in particular since then.
Yeah, and as a quarterback, you kind of got to stay cool, calm, and collected.
Yep.
You can't get too amped up with the fun music. All right, last thing. It's a noon game, so what are you eating beforehand? How do you power yourself?
So a lot of guys do the pregame meal because it stays the same. We'll have breakfast offered, and then they'll have like the spaghetti and pastas offered, but I'll usually just stick to whatever the time of the day is before the game when I have to eat. So whatever's for breakfast, probably some sort of scrambled eggs or omelet with some sausage or bacon.
You just roll with it, don't you?
I do.
I like it. All right, well, let's roll to a victory, Davis Mills. We appreciate the time. Look forward to talking to you again down the road. Best of luck.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Davis Mills, on the field, warming up for his second start. 2 touchdowns and 1 interception through a game and a half. Currently, according to our weatherman and videographer, Alex Lozano, it's not raining. And I see Tyler Suddarth there trying to get some close-ups.
Also Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor
and Tyler. All the Tylers are there. We got a Tyler working on this show as well. He's back in studio with us where it is definitely not raining. Davis Mills warming up. And, we like to get warmed up for the game with some pregame outfits. It's a new feature we added
Stevie's
just a few weeks ago. It is my new favorite thing to do. Let's see these pregame outfits. I have not seen these, so I'm looking at these for the first time. Oh, Whitney Merciless with the animal print.
That's good stuff.
This is always tough to do because we're always playing cat teams. I have to think about this myself when we play the Jaguars. I don't want to start anything by wearing my Jaguar print the week of. That was Whitney Merciless. Oh, we've moved on to Eric Murray, David Johnson,
I like David
and
Johnson's
Brandon Cooks.
suit. That's a nice looking suit.
He's going classic with the
Yeah.
suit, with the
But
tie.
If you could zoom in, we can't on this show, but if you go and zoom, it's you can check it out on HoustonTexans.com. We've got all this, but it's a good looking suit.
It's a good looking suit. I like it when guys get dressed up. It's a business trip, Mr. Johnson says. And Brandon Cooks, he's keeping it casual with some sneaks. And it looks like Balenciaga sweater, which I like that look too. That's a good comfy travel look. Eric Murray with the white, summery, looks like a khaki blend sort of pants, but the white shirt in the rain, you got to have a jacket nearby. These are just my fashion tips.
Those are your fashion tips.
Those are my fashion tips, but I like
Our
it.
producer Tyler wants me to talk about my go-to travel outfit, which I don't have one. I wear a suit and tie when I go when we travel with the Texans, but I like to look nice. I try to look nice and I try to wear a suit and tie. So I'm sorry, but I think we should dress up more when we do travel on airplanes, just as a society.
I disagree.
I don't think we should look like we're going to sleep and wear our pajamas and stuff. So
Hard disagree.
yeah, and Tyler's disagreeing and she's disagreeing. Well, that's my thought. And I know
I like some leggings. I like some leggings and some tennies and a sweatshirt. But if I'm traveling with the Texans,
that's fine. But
I dress up
pajama
and
pants and pajama top. They're not cool.
Nobody's
not
wearing.
Cool.
You got to go
Nobody's
athleisure wear.
wearing? Have you been to an airport in the last 20 years? Did you just say nobody's wearing that?
Nobody that I know
Maybe
is
the
wearing.
last
Maybe
20
people
minutes?
are wearing pajama pants.
I don't know these people. But they're wearing it. So okay.
No pajama pants on the field right now. Let's get into a few more questions before this really goes off the rails. All right, let's see. How long will Tyrod Taylor be on IR? Craig wants to know. It's a good question. Craig, he's missed the Carolina game. He will miss this game at Buffalo. He needs to miss 3 games in order to come off, or at least be eligible to come off IR according to the new IR rules. So he's going to have to miss next week against New England, and then he's eligible to come back off of that. But
Fingers
Drew,
crossed. Yeah,
fingers are definitely crossed because we just don't know what his status looks like.
Hamstrings are so weird. If it's a guy who's a wide receiver or a cornerback or a safety or running back, you're probably going to be out longer. One of the good things we heard the day after, or in the week after the injury he had in Cleveland, he said he wanted to go back in. He could have played, but David Culley said, "Look, we're in this for the long haul with him. We do not want to get it worse, so they want him back totally healthy." And that's kind of the way the Texans are operating. So based on that and that alone, I think there's a really good chance you see him at Indianapolis. Now, don't hold me to that, but based on all that and based on the position he plays, it's important that he's mobile and all that, but he doesn't have to be as mobile as a receiver or a running back or a corner. So I think you could see him back sooner than somebody who's playing one of those positions.
Yeah, all right. Adam wants to know who will be the sleepers of the game. You know what? Just because I see him right now, Rex Burkhead, I'm going to go Rex Burkhead because I think that this team's going to have to run the ball in this sort of weather. And Rex has played a lot of games here at Buffalo during his time with New England. So I think this is a very familiar road game for him. I think he's very comfortable here. He's going to try to help out Mills, get the run game going. That's something they're all trying to do. But I would look for Rex to have a nice little breakout play, especially with Scotty Phillips not playing today.
DP, if that is indeed the case, that would be a really good sign for the Texans because the first 3 games of the season have not gone well for the Texans running backs. They're averaging about 2.8 yards per carry. Just that group alone, you got to take out what the quarterbacks have done, and then there's been an end around or two from a wide receiver. But yeah, if you get something good out of any of the running backs, including Burkhead, you're really cooking with gas because every single week they basically have had their numbers halved as far as carries and yardage goes. So from the high mark in week 1 of the win on down week by week, it's gotten worse and worse and lower. So yeah, I'll go with let's get Rex Burkhead going and
let's give him some love.
Have some good stuff going, good mojo.
All right. Well, you know what? If we didn't get to your question, Drew will have all the answers for you, an extended version of Dear Drew. Send in your questions, and he's going to get to those. He does a great job answering all the questions. You can check it out on HoustonTexans.com, and you can check out this game on CBS as well as Sports Radio 610. And a countdown to kickoff is underway. We've got 30 minutes until the Texans kick off at the Bills, and look for some rainy conditions as it looks like it's starting to come down again. We want to thank everyone that worked on this show. Tyler Marcotte and the crew did a great job. Thanks to everyone that's been watching. Thanks for checking out our show. Be sure to check out HoustonTexans.com as well once this show is over and throughout the game. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Texans.